Now I have an interesting scenario that has actually happened to me. I had a gentleman who had an absolutely awful relationship with his wife and with his children. He had an affair. He was doing drugs. The whole, you name it, they were involved in it. He has a new family. He wants to raise them right. He wants to make sure that he imparts the right values. But the mother is saying, wait a minute, we're still here. You can't forget about us. How do you deal with this? How do you counsel somebody who says, I want to throw away my past?
The first thing that I would say to this gentleman is we certainly do believe in a God of restoration and redemption, of new possibilities for individuals who have messed up in their life. However, just because God makes new possibilities, there for us, doesn't mean that you can just kind of, separate yourself from mistakes that you've made in the past. Sometimes you're still responsible for them.
You're still responsible, but if you associate with some of those mistakes, like you said he was into drugs, if he associates with some of those people...
Children, Sherry, children are not...
No, I agree with you. Children is
There's
different.
a responsibility there that he has that it's a false division that he's trying to make in his life. I want to get rid of everything from the past and move on. You can't do that.
But everything in his past associates him with a portion of his life that he doesn't want to be connected with, except his kids.
But he doesn't want to go back there because it's so painful. Right?
Painful,
that part
and
of him is
all that he was
disdainful.
involved with, and all of
Right.
that is connected to his family.
But I think part of that is that he also has to deal with that pain. He has to work through
He
that
needs
pain.
to suck it up.
Right, and he needs to be present for
serious.
his children today. I mean, to go on in life to say, well, I'm a Christian now, Jesus is Lord, and then not deal with the relationships that you have with children, I think is very false.
But why vetted that? I 100% agree with you. On the other hand, this is really hard. I mean,
It's
in the
hard.
ideal world, it's like, I find Christ, or not in my religion, we don't find Christ or anything like that, but in the ideal world, you live anew and you make amends and you start a new family and you want to deal with your past family, but boy, is that hard. I mean, your past is your pain.
Right, but if you don't deal with it, I think you're not living an authentic life. And yes, it is hard. Yes, it does require some sacrifice and some stuff. That's what life is about.
But some
Sherry.
would say, oh, I don't need to live so authentically. Let's just get beyond it, right? I mean,
There's another
right.
word that I think is really important here, and that is restitution. And that once we repent, we need to try to make things right in our past to fix as much as we can. Now, sometimes you can't fix some things. There's some things that are beyond getting fixed. But for instance, if someone has stolen money, okay, and they repent of that, it was wrong, they know it's wrong, and they repent of that. Well, the best way to close the door on the past is to pay the money back, so you don't have to face that forever, okay? Now, with children, of course, there's been a lot stolen. Well, but there's been a lot stolen here.
Right, with
he's
children,
stolen
come
time,
on, Bill.
he's stolen, he's stolen their father. I mean, really, by his actions, he's taken their father away. And so I think he has to try to make things as right as he possibly can in this situation.
And what if the second wife is so resentful that he's trying to make repairs in the first marriage?
What I would say is, first of all, she got into a relationship with him knowing that he had a previous family.
Right.
And that's, on terms of her responsibility in all this, she needs to be mature enough to realize that there are children out there who have needs that extend beyond her family.
Right.
But I really think, I want to go back to the guy, because that's who you said is coming in the office. What I want to say to him is, you cannot lead a life of integrity. You cannot truly have a new life.
That's right.
If you jettison this past. What you need to do is not jettison it. God has redeemed you. You need to be a redemptive presence in the lives of your children.
Okay, I'm going to throw a wrench into the whole thing. What if God got him to the new marriage through the pain of the past? One could make that argument. You get to where you are based on the difficulties of your present.
Do you get rid of that just because God got to you?
But being a good Jew, you know that you cannot get rid of the past.
That's right. History is sacred.
Yeah, you have to face your past.
That's right.
At some point, you have to face your past, but it's...
But I think the good news is that there is healing for the past. There is healing for the pain. There is hope for the future, but you have to deal with it. If you avoid it, it only gets worse. So I think that this person has to realize that if he is going to go on with this new marriage, have some authenticity and integrity in it, he's going to have to deal with the pain.